Hey, dear readers. I am feeling so much better. So, thank you. I got all these concerned emails, and it was so sweet. I really appreciate um, all of your kind comments. But I, uh, I need to follow up on the vlog I made in the emergency room. It turns out that I just have severe allergies. Thank the Lord. The doctor gave me a rescue inhaler, and it really, really helps. And in fact, you can tell I've got my little satin bow in my hair. I am all ready to go. Now, if you hear thunder, it is because we have one of those Midwestern US storms rolling through. I'm outside on my porch, and it's so cozy. This is such a little cozy porch because you feel hidden away from the weather and from the and from, well, and nobody can really see you. It's really cozy out here. I'm sure you'll see more of it as time goes on with as I add more vlogs. But today I am sure you're most interested, and I certainly don't blame you. You're probably interested in the idea of writing your first draft. And I remember how terrifying it used to be. I used to think, oh man, if I get this wrong, if I don't write golden words this first time, it is all over. And of course, the opposite is true. It's just begun. So, first, take the pressure off yourself. Then, presumably, you've come up with the germ of an idea. Perhaps you've been thinking about the idea of a story when you're driving or before you go to sleep at night. Okay, so once you have the idea to a story, your first draft isn't actually gonna be a draft at all. It's gonna be an outline. Now, there are two types of writers: pantsters and plotters. Now, usually first time writers are pantsters, but I can save you tons of time and stress if I turn you into a plotter and you plan and outline your story at least three-fourths of the way through, because the chances are good that by the time you're actually three-fourths of the way uh, through the story, your world will have taken on a life of its own, and it'll surprise you. And to where you'll likely write a completely different ending, which is good. The more your world takes on a life of its own, the better. Okay, so just outline your story. And this doesn't have to take a lot of time. In fact, you don't even need to use complete sentences. We are just trying to get the elements of your story in place. Generally, getting your story down in an outline will inspire you and get you past the first fears of writer's block, which I will show you in a later vlog is not real. So, once you have the outline down, you are ready to start writing your first draft. Now, I recommend, in my previous vlog on how to get started writing, I told you to allot a certain amount of time every day, even if it's 5 minutes. That's then at the end of the week, you're 70 minutes more farther down the road than if you would have told yourself to wait until you had 2 hours every day or something like that. That's more to be built up to. Um, so Um, when you actually start writing this first draft, it truly is completely low stress. If you have given yourself just 10 minutes a day, I recommend just starting to type and not raising your hands from the keyboard until your allotted time for the day is up. I have read about authors who will type anything to prime the pump of their imagination. For example, I know of one writer who will type addresses, phone numbers, truly anything, the Gettysburg Address, what have you, until their imagination kicks back in. Because I think you're going to see with the practice that you and I will have writing, your imagination, we're going to train you so that your imagination will come when called on demand. Okay? But the first way we do this is just by telling ourselves we are just going to write that outline, and then after that, connecting the dots of the outline, and we're not going to lift our hands from the keyboard until our time is absolutely up. Now, you can see how tremendously low stress for me this issue is. In fact, I really don't think until WordCraft. In fact, I don't even think about WordCraft on the first draft. Now, my approach only works under the assumption that you are willing to write as many drafts and revisions as it takes until your story is complete. And if this is a time in your life where you're just not signing up for that, that's fine. Write down your story idea and put it in your desk and let it wait for a time when you do have time. When you are revision, or when you are ready to sign up for those mini revisions. Because quite frankly, I don't know any authors, and I mean none. I'm a full-time editor right now, and I work with some of the world's most fascinating people. I'll go into that some other day. But I know no authors who get it right on the first draft. Absolutely none. So if you want to be a writer, we have to accept that you're going to have to do revisions. And that's great. Actually, I think revisions are one of the most fun parts of this process, because I always think of it as standing on an island and looking through binoculars, very high power binoculars sometimes, at a distant shore. Every time you look at that distant shore, you see something different. So revisions are so much more fun than first drafts. And then you're not going to really think about wordcraft until you're pretty sure your plot is tight and on point. Okay. But my approach only works under the assumption that you are willing to write as many drafts and revisions as it takes until your story is complete. And yes, you will know. You will know it deep within your bones when your story is complete. The more you revise and practice writing, the more those golden words will flow by themselves. So don't stress about crafting the perfect phrase. In fact, the first book I wrote took at least 30 revisions that I know of. But I know in reality there were many, many more times that, I would take a note on a napkin and I'd come home and I'd add that to the story or pull something from the story, what have you. Now, my mentor, Kate Collins, who knows everything there is to know about writing, ooh, so cozy, and the rain is falling. This is so nice. My mentor, Kate Collins, she knows everything there is to know about writing, and she only needs 3 drafts to write a novel. I am nowhere close to that. I think I'll finish my novel, All Hail Queen of the Freaks, which will probably come out about March of 2021. I think I'll finish that with about 7 drafts. And of course, that's only counting the amount of times that I actually sit down to write, because I always say I'm going to my imaginary world before I go to sleep. It's someplace where I'm always safe and cozy. I'm always trying to get safe, which is unfortunately isn't always safety isn't always forthcoming in my life. But um, there's times when I go to my imaginary world before I sleep, and I don't count that as a draft. But it is indeed how I get a lot of my ideas from when I actually do sit down to write. And you might want to keep a notepad by on your bedside table, so that way you always have something to, I don't know, 1:15 at a.m., when you think of an idea, that you can jot it down real quick. Or perhaps, a lot of writers, realistically, I know this sounds a little nuts, so please forgive me, but a lot of writers do get inspiration from their dreams. Not me so much, but of course, I do know many others do. And so that notepad will also help to catch your dreams as well. So, remembering that it takes me at least 7 drafts of writing should really take the pressure off you. I have devoted my life to the written word since I was 4, sitting on my mother's lap and reading The Little Engine That Could. So that's decades of doing nothing but reading and writing. And yes, it still takes me that many drafts to write a novel. So just take I can't say it enough, take the pressure off yourself and just enjoy putting words on paper and savor living in the world that you have created. It is your personal refuge. What helps all of you in writing your first draft? Please comment below with tips for other writers, remembering that writers always help each other. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click on the little bell for more writing and editing help. And yes, in a future blog, I will tell you why writer's block isn't real. Thank you all so much, and happy writing.